performance. Just an awesome, awesome thing. And kudos to our kids and kudos to our teachers that are working every day with those students. They did a great job. And I know there's been people that have said something about, well, the number of test takers is low. Well, this is who took it. This is how well they did, and we celebrate those kids. There's nobody that you're going to find that said, we got in front of a kid's house and said, don't go take the SAT. The reason numbers of participation for SAT is lower is because our local colleges do not require the SAT like they once did. That's probably going to change over time, but right now there's only 3 college and state universities in our state that require the SAT. It is the University of Georgia, it is Georgia Tech, and it is Georgia College and State University. So I celebrate these 748. I would celebrate if it was 950, and I'd celebrate if it was 52. But again, kudos to our kids and let them get the credit. And if somebody out there is sitting there going, I'm a little disappointed that they did well, boy, that means we've come a long way in a bad direction in our society. Kudos to our kids.
Kevin, let me ask you a question. So I assume like a Jackson County probably has, you got about 40% of our kids taking the SAT. What would a Jackson County have? Because they don't have anywhere near the population we have.
That's exactly right. So actually when when people say people are talking about the participation rate, I actually pulled Jackson County, I pulled Gainesville City. Gainesville City and Hall County shares about 40%. Jackson County is even a little bit lower with regard to that. That's not a dig at Jackson County. They're facing the same challenge. Colleges and universities do not require it. Kids are not going to take it. If Mr. Schofield, if somebody was to have a story of us being out somebody's house, blocking them on a Saturday morning from getting up and going to the SAT, they've got a story. Otherwise, they really need to be quiet and celebrate our kids.
Now, your early college students, that's 1,600 courses being taken right now by juniors and seniors. They're already in college. I guess they don't really need to take the SAT. Are they somehow counted in here, those 1,600 students passing their college courses at a 99% clip?
They are not in this group.
I'll be darned. Well, it's a great milestone. We'll tell our kids over and over again how proud we are of them. It's the first time anybody can remember in the history of the school district that Hall County has outperformed the national average, and it's a very similar percentage of test takers that Hall County has already had. So just want to tell you your kids are doing just great. And we're extremely proud of the teachers. It is a K-12 effort. It doesn't just happen in high school. Our kids are doing just fine. Thank you. And we're moving into a new phase with minor projects that we normally would bid out that actually our students and their teacher are going to be able to handle. Talk a little bit about the excitement of that and what you and Mr. Presley have been talking about.
Yes, sir. We've been dealing for quite some time with. We have our larger projects, of course, where we need a contractor, but then sometimes we have something very small. For instance, at East Hall Middle School right now, there's a situation where we have a large room. We'd like to subdivide it. We're just talking about building a wall. That would be a simple exercise there, but based on what we've seen the kids and Rodney be able to accomplish out at the farm, we have high confidence that they could help us out with some of these smaller projects that we call more of our self-performs. So we're going to be exploring that in the near future and looking at some opportunities for them to help out the facilities department with those.
And that's hundreds of thousands of dollars a job, if not even getting into the 7-figure. We know what the bidding environment is right now and the cost. So number one, an incredible opportunity for our kids to continue learning real-world skills and getting those industry certifications through Lanier Technical College. Number two, an opportunity for us to save money. And so I appreciate you looking at that. The other thing that we're looking into, and I just want you to know in terms of trades and training to go along with large equipment operation, with construction and trades, now with meat processing, which by the way we'll have a great update for you next month on the thousands of pounds going into your local food programs at 65% of the cost of what we were paying our vendors. But this is landscaping. We keep up between 300 and 400 acres of lawns, landscapes, fields, hedges, irrigation, etc. And again, we're working with Lanier Technical College to be able to, again, to save tens of thousands of dollars with one of our instructors and a number of students doing a lot of that work, which can turn into an incredibly lucrative career for people that have an interest and like to work outside with their hands. So we've talked about it for months. We're finally at a position where we're ready to take it to the next level. And again, we'll have some more specifics for you by our next meeting.
Let me I'll make a comment. I was at the at a association executive conclave last weekend, and I ran into the executive director for the U.S. FFA program, and he was also assigned to CTAE under Trump's administration for the Department of Education. And I told him about what we're doing, and the reason I really wanted to is just at least tell him about we're involved with FFA through our business, and we have got a national champion dairy show person from North Hall, and I told him about our farm. He said, "Really? Y'all are doing that?" And I told him about our programs of choices, and he said, "Here's my card. Call me. I'm gonna bring our district representative from USDA who lives in Atlanta. I want to come down, come see what y'all are doing for kids." He said, those are the kind of things we need to be doing. So I love hearing that we're continuing to find things that kids are passionate about and find an opportunity to succeed later in life. So I'll be doing that.
That's great.
Sometime between now and my last couple of months.
We're ready. We'll have to work them in. We're starting to get requests from across the country of people wanting to come in and see what you're doing with real world learning with your students. So thank you, Mr. Morris. Field trips.
Last item I have tonight, field trips. We have 4 field trips. I only need consideration of action for the first one, which is really a UNG trip, but UNG works with Johnson High School with a program called Upward Bound, and they are taking a field trip to Los Angeles for 20 of our kids that are UNG and Upward Bound involved at Johnson. That trip is obviously later next week. The rest of these can wait until our work session later this month. So you'll see 3 that are out of state. You'll see 1 that's out of country. The one that's out of country is actually in 2026. As we do with all of those out of country, we always require insurance. We always require and make a disclaimer that obviously depending on what's going on across the world, that we always reserve the right at the last minute to say we're planning on going, but we're not going to do that. Thus, that's why we take insurance. But all of that we're working with Johnson in the case of that Peru trip. But again, only action consideration for tonight is that very first one for Upward Bound.
I'll make a motion to approve the Johnson High School, but a reminder to them, they need to get these requests in and give us time to view them, and don't put us in that position. Thank you.
Do I have a second? Any other discussion? All in favor?
Jonathan, your TAVT receipts look like we're down a little over September a year ago, which is not a surprise. Questions for Jonathan? Moving right along. East Blast analysis, Jonathan? And in terms of where your funds are being invested right now, U.S. Treasuries are ticking up again. Bo, I think you can see that. No surprise with me. I'm thankful that we've stayed with the Georgia One Fund. We're currently earning a little over 5.1%. Even the 1-month Treasury is still right now only at about 4.6, the 3-month at 4.3. Although we did see the 10-year inch back up over 4% today, which was, nobody was expecting that. But I think we could see more of that, particularly with the strength we're seeing in the labor market. So, again, thankful that the money that we have in reserve is earning 5.1%, and be glad to answer any questions on that. Funding requests, Matt?
Yes, sir. I have 2 requests tonight. First is for the North Hall High School Additions and Renovations Project.
You say that again. We've been talking about this for years, and we're
Yes.
finally at the spot.
I was just looking back at this, been about a year since we started the process, and a lot of adjustments as we tried to make the best decision for North Hall. And we feel like we have landed on that decision, 3-story addition, replacement of the practice gymnasium, and some much-needed renovations. The number that you see there, the 28,230, is about $2.6 million under our budget, so we're very excited about the good bids that we received on this last week. The other project we have is a self-perform. This is Mini Split, which is an air conditioning unit for one of our back-of-house spaces in the Learning Commons.
Let me remind this board, in 2021, for those of you that weren't here, we were seeing prices in the construction industry that had absolutely gone out of this hemisphere. We pulled back and said we're going to wait. I think this price that you see in front of you for the North Hall addition probably represents somewhere between $4 and $7 million less than we would have paid at that time. So I thank you for your patience. It is time. We've got the right project, and we certainly are excited about the North Hall renovation, particularly at that price. Deborah, you want to talk just a little bit about what you saw in terms of East Hall with its renovation and what it's done to the culture of that campus? They get it. They get it. North Hall High School, East Hall High School, sister schools built in 1957. We can do better than that for our kids.
I
And
think you're
so-
going to see the same response from the community in North Hall. And, I mean, I've been, you know, when I came on this board 24 years ago, that school, it's added a few things, but I even took someone to a homecoming dance out there in 1980, and in that same gym that's sitting out there. So it's time. I'm so excited it's going to happen. I hate to be going off the board, but I will certainly applaud the finished product because I know it's going to be a good job.
Absolutely.
You took who? I didn't say who. Okay. I just said I took someone.
You need action on that tonight. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second? Any other discussion? All in favor?
Personnel packet, Dr. Swafford.
Got the personnel packet in front of you, but we'd be glad to answer any questions that you may have. Also, I have a couple of other items we'd like to ask approval of tonight. As a reminder, open enrollment will be coming up October the 15th through November the 8th. The past 4 years, y'all have approved a health care savings incentive for employees who are classified employees who elect to go under their spouse's coverage. It has put $3,000 back into each of the employees' pocket, and at the same time has saved the district an enormous amount of money. This past year, once we get through 2024, the savings to the district are well over $550,000, and in $147,000 going back into the employees' pockets. The cost of health care for the classified employees has been $1,195 a month. That will be going up to $1,580 a month in January. The certified cost has been at $1,540, and it is now at $1,760 per month. And if you do that math, that's $21,120 per year. So I want to just recognize Marla Gillespie, who's been the gatekeeper of this behind the scenes. You took a chance on that 4 years ago, and we'd like to continue that same proposal. Currently, we have 49 employees who elect to be members in that, who qualify. Not all of them will, but Marla goes to each of the schools and different locations to meet with them. So that's the first thing I would like to ask, that we continue to be able to offer the health care savings incentive.
Brad, let me ask you a couple questions, because we live in Hall County, and there's a lot of people with a lot of knowledge in Hall County. Why in the world wouldn't we bid out a health care package that has catastrophic opportunities and just create a local fund to handle some of that deductible?
We don't have a choice. The state requires us to use state health benefit plan.
So we have to choose that $1,700 a month plan as a public school district in the state of Georgia?
We have no choice.
No choice.
No choice.
Yes, like to recommend that we continue the employee bonus for those who find it feasible and positive to accept their husband or their wife's insurance coverage, and giving them a $3,000 stipend for doing so, saving them money, saving us money.
The,
Just another question. You said 49 have qualified and are participating. I mean, are we promoting it to those who often have that opportunity?
all employees have access to the information, but only 49 who have qualified have elected to participate in it for a number of reasons.
We go further than informing. We make sure they know, look carefully at your spouse's plan before you do that. Don't put yourself in a position.
Yeah.
And they come back one after another saying, thank you, it's nice having another $250 a month in our pocket, so,
Yes. They can.
yes. Yes.
The other point I would like to make is the current benefits right now for certified employees is at 54.17%. So that's been quite an increase over the number of years. And most of that is attributed to the 14%, a lot of that over the insurance cost from last year, 14% increase in health insurance. The second item I would like,
We
I'm
vote
sorry.
all in favor?
One comment for you. That's an astounding number for a state-provided benefit. I mean, you know, you look at increases for other businesses on their health insurance plans, you see a 5 to 8%. Is that an issue we ought to be talking with our legislators about, and maybe they can learn about some negotiating skills or something? I mean, I know you're probably going to have to get what, you know, you're going to get what you're going to get, but that's an astounding increase in benefits over 1 year.
Nathan, we have talked for years about it, and the other thing that's amazing is in the day and age we live in that there's no high deductible catastrophic policies available. I mean, most people would like a $10,000 deductible catastrophic policy for 40% of the rate of what we're talking about. It's not available. It's not on the cafeteria plan, and they have not considered it at this point.
and again, that's the board's portion. In addition, the employee pays, depending on what plan they opt into, from $200 to $600 a month in addition to that. So healthcare costs have increased substantially. Second item, as you know, we missed 2 days from a storm. One was a school from home. It was declared a disaster, state of emergency by our governor. And we asked that we be consideration that the employees not have to make up that time. 1 day was a day from home for certified employees for most of them. The others were not able to work, and so this governor allows us to waive that so they can get paid without actually having to go back and make up that time. And that would be for all employees, certified and classified.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Y'all are welcome to stay for the training. What have we got? It's analyzing demographic and financial data for the system.
Cutting that module in half. Tonight will be the demographic. Next time will be financial. Stan Lewis and I are going to deliver the training tonight. On your way down the hall, wanted to point out we have artwork from Dale Elementary. First time that we can have artwork from Dale Elementary, and so get your eyes on the great work of our students as you go down and get a little dinner.
This account is our training for the toward the state requirements.
Exemplary status, yes, it will.
What we do is it's a little different from some of the other systems. Rather than sending all of us off somewhere for training, we use our own data and do our own training in-house and get credit for that through the state.
Sure. So again, just for everyone's understanding, boards go through certification and training every year. Every year there's a number of hours that's required. Typically it's 9 hours for veterans, 12 for new members, except if you're pursuing exemplary status, then all of a sudden it's 12 for regular board members, 15 or more. It turns out to be a lot more for our new members. And so this is training is one of the ones that's been approved by the state. There are certain modules. We don't just make up something with regard to that. And so tonight we're gonna take this module, split it in half. Tonight we're gonna go through demographic data, and I got to give a shout out to one of our data analysts for the district. Tracy Bishop has done a tremendous job and probably did 95% of the work for tonight's training. Stan and I are just going to communicate most of what she's pulled. This is public information. Most of it's available on the data collection side of the State Department of Education. But what's different about what Tracy did is she's pulled the last 15 years in most cases of demographics for Hall County. So what I'm excited about for the board is, you know, Brian, you've been on the board back years and years ago, so this goes all the way back to your first years, and Hall County School District looks a lot different than it did when you started. And that's true of Nate and Craig, and it's just, tonight we're going to see those numbers. This is a facts-based presentation. We're not going to talk about student achievement. We do have an achievement module that we'll be doing later this year, but this is the first component where I just want to show you this is who we teach in the Hall County School District. And if anybody believes who we're teaching in 2024 is exactly like the students we were teaching in 2010, they're mistaken. They are beautiful kids. They're wonderful kids. It is just a different makeup of kids that we're teaching. They're doing fine, but it is a different group. And so we're just going to share the facts with you tonight as we go through the demographics, and I think you'll be amazed to see, because I've been here, I've been at the district office for 12 years. I've been in this district for 30 plus. And so I've seen some of these transitions myself during the time. And again, it's kind of really cool. Anybody who wants to stay, we invite you to stay as we go through the demographic data. It's kind of, this is the facts and only the facts with regard to what we're sharing tonight.
Let me ask you a few questions, Mr. Bales, because
%17%. I don't know it to the T, but it'll be a smaller number than that.
somewhere in the neighborhood of 11
Yeah.
is what the number.
Close to 12, 11, 12, yep.
Is it possible for a student to be special education?
Yes, one of the things we'll share tonight in the training is that in Hall County, and this is not true in many districts in the state of Georgia, you don't have a lot of districts that have a high EL population, but in Hall County where we do have a high EL population, and not all EL populations are the same, Mr. Schofield, EL population in Doraville is going to look a lot different than the EL population in Gainesville, Hall County, but in Hall County, 33% of our students that are in special education are also EL. They are dual served, and you'll see that in the data tonight.
Now, during an RTI process, we do a lot of background information, making sure we've got the correct students in special needs. What would the
That's going to be the problem, because a lot of these students that are newcomers, they've not been educated in any language. So that's not a fair assumption. I will tell you this number that's in the training tonight. There's over 5% of our student body are newcomers in this district. That is an astounding number. We have more newcomers than we have black students in this district. Let me say it again. We have more newcomers in this country, less than 3 years, not born in this country. We have more of those students than we have black students in the Hall County School District. That's a fact. They are beautiful students. Just like we'll see poverty rates tonight. Just because a kid's poverty doesn't mean they can't learn. If a kid is black, doesn't mean they can't learn. If a kid's sped, it doesn't mean they can't learn. But it does mean, research will tell you there's going to be some barriers there you have to overcome.
Now, we're not talking about performance tonight, but I heard that your team pulled out those newcomers of the special ed population.
There's a number of grades where they outperform the state when you pull out the number of students that are dual served.
Why that?
It is not.